imagine if you could actually figure it out how pain, illness, injury, and disease occurs in your body as a result of repressed emotions? That'd be a pretty cool thing to be able to figure out, hey? Because once you figured it out, it actually gives you a control point, a choice point. Moving forward from that choice point to make new decisions, new choices, different from the way you've done in the past. Hi everybody, I'm Carol Serby. I'm owner of Omanika Healing Institute here in Prince George, British Columbia. We are Northern British Columbia's premier institute for hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, energy healing, ceremony, trainings, and workshops. So thank you so much for joining us. So today we're talking about, the technical term is Gestalt. You might have heard this from other NLP practitioners or maybe from other hypnosis practitioners, but let's talk about the Gestalt and how it ends up resulting in pain, illness, injury, and disease. So you can think of a Gestalt. Let's think of an oyster with a grain of sand. So you know when the oyster gets the grain of sand inside its little shell, and it adds these layers of mucus basically that calcifies and hardens on there, and layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, and then you get the pearl, right? Hence your pearl of wisdom in the Gestalt itself. So we have a feeling. The feeling is your grain of sand. And what we say is sometimes we have a feeling, we don't know what to do with it. We don't have the experience to deal with it. We don't have the knowledge to deal with it. So what you do is you push it aside. You push it inside your oyster and you put this little protective barricade around it. And it's this nice little package sitting there waiting for you to come back and claim. But what happens is we get so busy in our day-to-day lives. Those of you that don't take holidays, don't take time to meditate, don't take time to walk, don't take time to just sit in some silence in some way, what happens is you get another feeling that you don't know what to do with. Now this feeling could be fear, anger, shame, hurt, guilt. Those are kind of the big five. We'll stick with those for now. And if you don't know what to do with this specific aspect of this feeling, you put it back in your clamshell, you add a nice little layer upon it, and then you look back in your own personal filing cabinet and you find the Gestalt that goes with the pain, that goes with the anger, the fear, the shame, the hurt, the guilt. And what the Gestalt is, it's the linking together of repressed emotions, those emotions that you've put away, that you've put this layer of calcified saliva on. I know, kind of gross. And you've linked them all together. So you've linked all your anger ones together, and you've linked all your fear ones together, and you've linked all your shame, all your hurt, and all your guilt. So now they're starting to look like pearl necklaces. And the common thread that runs between them is the anger, the hurt, the fear, the shame, the guilt. That's the common thread that runs through each one of the five. And there can be more, 5 different gestalts, but we're talking about the 5 major emotions right now. So, gestalts, just like a pearl necklace, they're not dealt with, they can strangle you too. No. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But that's the way they work. So what we do in hypnotherapy, in timeline therapy, in neurolinguistic programming, and in the energy healing, what we do is we actually cut the gestalt. We cut the thread that runs through all these pearls of like emotions. Now, there is a very specific way that you need to do this, and it is something that you have to be certified at, and it's something that you do have to have training at. It's not something that just any energy-based practitioner, any hypnotherapist can do. It is a training in and of itself. But we cut the cord, so to speak, in the gestalt, and we let those emotions filter through the body. So let's just step back a little bit instead of the how. So what happens is we have all of these gestalts, all these little pearls strung together by the same thread. Let's take anger. We have all these little angry moments that we didn't know what to do with, and we've strung them all together. Now, when this gestalt gets really big, we no longer have the capacity to hold those they're called repressed emotions, those emotions that you don't know what to do with. You don't know how to respond. You're too afraid. You don't have the experience with it. You don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Whatever your reason is, it's something that they're emotions that you haven't dealt with. Now, maybe you've put them in the box and you've put them up on the shelf, but sometimes they come out of the box. And sometimes they come off the shelf, and sometimes they come right up in your face. Okay? Now, what happens is if we have enough of these, it's like your storeroom when it's too full, or your closet when it's too full, and all of a sudden you got all this stuff crashing out of your closet before you can get the door closed. Well, think of that stuff as your disease. The one really interesting thing that's really starting to happen, and there's scientists out there, Bruce Lipton is one example off the top of my head, probably Deepak Chopra, another example. They're actually doing science on figuring out which repressed emotions are held in which area of the body. So from this point of view, the body is actually like a map. So if you have a sore shoulder, that is universal. Man, woman, child, old person, young person, doesn't matter. It's universal. The gestalts, the repressed emotions that are stored in the shoulder are the same for every person. So it's basically like looking at a map. If we can look at your body, if we can look at the energy centers that are being affected, the areas of the body that are being affected, the pain, the illness, the injury, or the disease, how it actually affects you. Actually, I'm doing a workshop on this on November 4th at Enjoy Boutique in Prince George, and we're actually going to go through the process of diagnosing what repressed emotions are being held according to the way your pain, illness, injury, and disease is trying to speak to you. So, long story short, Gestalt is, it starts out with a one repressed emotion that we layer, and then we string like repressed emotions. When the string gets too big, we hold all our strings in the same spot in the body. When the string gets too big, it starts to perforate, starts to push through, starts to want to come out, starts to want to be the stuff in the closet that you no longer can close the door on. It starts to push you to deal with it. Okay. What I do is I am a trained timeline therapist. We can go in, we can cut the gestalt, and again, there's a specific process to that. So that's the way, in a really loopy nutshell, that's the way the repressed emotions work in the body, through gestalts, through the mapping of the body, we can figure out exactly what emotions we'll deal with, and a properly trained therapist can help you work through them. Anyways, if you have any further questions, by all means, I'm sure you do. Please, I'll be following this feed, so if you have any questions, by all means, put them in the bottom. And if you really like this kind of content, leave a comment, share with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're looking for more energy healing techniques, some inspiration, or other ways that your body speaks to you, go to my website, amanikahealing.ca, and sign up for a monthly newsletter. If you'd like an opportunity to work for me, hi sweetheart, hi Viva. If you'd like an opportunity to work for me, you can also schedule an appointment or a free 30-minute clarity call right on my website, again at amanikahealing.ca. The free 30-minute clarity call is just a conversation. It's a conversation between you and between me, and we can really get down to the nitty-gritty on where you're stuck, and I can offer you some suggestions on what I can do to help. And if I think we're a match, I'll make you an offer so that we can work together. My purpose here is to really support you in your courage, to really explore the clarity and intuitively listening to what's going on and finding the mastery that's already in your body. And I want you to live full throttle so that you can be the example and give others permission to do the same. So I thank you so much for joining me here on this roundabout little Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.